In breaking and shocking news, the Trump administration, in a new court filing today, has admitted liability about the 67 people who died tragically, including 3 on an Army helicopter, Blackhawk helicopter, and 64 on an American Airlines regional jet on January 29th. The government, in a 200-page filing buried in it, has finally admitted culpability and liability, that the Blackhawk helicopter pilots were below the standard of care. In other words, that they were negligent, and that the U.S. government is liable for anyone who is a victim, as that term is defined in the Federal Tort Claims Act. This case, this matter is personal to me as well. As people may know, the Popok firm and other related firms with us, associated firms with us, are representing a American Airlines flight attendant. This was a case that was brought by some of the passengers on board after a National Transportation Safety Board hearing over the summer basically concluded that the Trump administration, its Army, and air traffic controllers were at fault. So we weren't shocked when today they finally had to admit in federal court before Judge Reyes in a filing that they are liable for the deaths of these people. And wait till you hear some of the other admissions that are in the answer that has been filed. I'm Michael Popok. You're on the MeidasTouch Network. Take a moment, and just down below in notes is a link to the YouTube channel for Legal AF. Take a moment and hit the free subscribe button if you're in favor of this type of analysis and commentary, coming from the heart, as I often do. Let's get to the findings. Over the National Transportation Safety Board hearing with experts, isn't that a rare thing to find in the Trump administration? People who actually have expertise in a subject matter that's relevant. He didn't fire everybody at the National Transportation Safety Board. Perhaps he didn't dare because there was a accident so soon after his inauguration. 9 days later, I am sure that if there hadn't been, he would have been slashing and burning and cutting and defunding the National Transportation Safety Board and putting a whole bunch of people on there and right-wing podcasters and influencers to be responsible for air traffic safety and to reconstruct accidents. But that didn't happen because of this accident. Now, here's what we learned over the summer. Let me play first a clip of, and with a little bit of a visual that came out of the National Transportation Safety Board hearing. Let me do a little warning here. This is not for the weak. I'm not going to show you the crash site, but you are going to see visually depicted these aircraft colliding along with the air traffic controller and pilot conversation and chatter at or around that time. Let's play that clip.
Approved to Washington Class Rover, Space Portland, Sheridan, Fairfax.
290 Fairfield, 1 copy.
Pad 25, get the CRJ in sight. Pad 25, pass bond is CRJ.
Pad 5 has a aircraft in sight, precision separation.
This separation.
Flight 5342 is visible in the upper left corner as it approaches runway 33. Pat 25 appears from the left side of the screen, moving to the right as the two aircraft cross flight paths.
Similarly, just after it happened and others in the airspace recognized that a Apache helicopter had Blackhawk helicopter had collided with a regional American Airlines flight. You heard this from the control tower.
Was that an airplane just crashed in the river?
Yep, we saw it. And everybody just hold your positions, please, on the field right now. I just saw a fireball and then it was just gone. So I haven't seen anything since they hit the river, but it was a CRJ and a helicopter that hit.
Now, at one point in that newly released audio, you can hear air traffic controllers ask nearby helicopters to assist in the search for the aircraft. 67 people were killed in that crash. The NTSB's final report on the investigation is expected sometime next year.
Now, once the National Safety Transportation Board came out with its report, we were like, okay, how is the government ever going to get out from under this? And they're not. Let me read to you from the answer itself. Let's start on page 3 of the answer. In response to a allegation in the complaint that defendants, meaning the airline and the Army and the United States, because of their failure to analyze the data and information at their disposal, and due to their failure to operate and or control aircraft with the highest degree of safety, this mid-air collision was tragically and an accident waiting to happen. And the government responded. The United States admits that the PAT-25, which is a priority air transport, meaning the Blackhawk helicopter, and the pilot on the other plane failed to maintain vigilance so as to see and avoid each other. That means they were negligent. That means we're admitting liability, but it gets deeper than that. Let's go to page 5. They say on page 5, in response to another allegation in the complaint, this is a complaint that was brought by the Crafton family on behalf of one of their loved ones who died on the flight, a passenger. It says that, and this is really the heart of the reporting here, page 5, in an answer to the series of allegations that were made, it boils down to this, and this is the government now, the Trump administration. It says the United States answers as follows. The United States admits that the helicopter, the Army helicopter, and the other pilot failed to maintain vigilance so as to see and avoid each other, that the DCA local controller, air traffic controller, did not comply with certain FAA orders. And because of the Army helicopter pilot's failure to maintain vigilance so as to see and avoid the American Airlines flight, the United States is liable to a plaintiff who is legally eligible to recover monetary damages as permitted by the Federal Tort Claims Act. That's it in a nutshell, folks. Now, this goes on for 200 pages because the plaintiff's lawyers methodically, the way we would and will, methodically went through the National Transportation Safety Board reports, page by page, graph by graph, video by video, and had them admit all the findings of this independent National Transportation Safety Board. And the United States of America had nowhere to go but to admit it. So on page, and some of the stuff in here is scary. They admitted that they know about many near misses over Reagan International Airport involving helicopters. They know, and wait for this one. They know that the altimeters about how high or low an aircraft is, right? Not side to side, but up or down, can be off in a helicopter, an Army helicopter, by 83 to 115 feet. 80, that's a big miss. 83 to 115 feet off. You think you're 90 feet away from something and you're only 7 feet away from something? Or worse, you think you're 80 feet away from something and you've just collided. That's what that means. And they had to admit that because it's true. They also admitted everything that we knew. The pilots were relatively inexperienced. One pilot was practicing for the Army. They were all wearing night goggles. They had turned off all their transponders and other information, so they were dark to effectively to the air traffic controllers, at least to the American Airlines flight. They were flying blind at that particular time. And so that admission will go a long way because it is now the law of the case. It's now an admission. I don't think this case goes to the trial in April the 2027, the way Judge Reyes has planned. I think there should be a motion for summary judgment that they've admitted liability, and let's get to damages. Now, damages here are substantial, and many cases were joined together in front of Judge Reyes, a Biden appointee, to handle this matter. My client is still in the Federal Tort Claims Act process, but coming out of it, you have to first give the government notice before you sue them, give them an opportunity to resolve it. If it doesn't get resolved by 180 days, you file the lawsuit. These plaintiffs were a little bit further ahead for other reasons, having nothing to do with really anything that I can share. And that's where we are. But we will now benefit from the very good, amazing, hard work done by the National Transportation Safety Board and the lawyers representing the Crafton family. Now, because they can't now deny the very same allegations in subsequent complaints and actions. They're stuck. This is the government's position. They're going to have to pay. It looks like they're going to pay, and we will continue to update our audience about it. I did want to, we do a lot of talking about the Popok firm that I founded really a year ago next month. I've been a lawyer for 35 years, but a firm dedicated to our audience, their catastrophic personal injury, wrongful death, and other needs. And then bringing in, I'm working with the Kreinler firm, an amazing firm that's based in New York that's just really does air traffic and air crash catastrophes. The lawyers that I'm working with and are working on behalf of the family, 2 of them were former Blackhawk helicopter pilots before they went to law school. So they sort of know, and one of them in particular transited this very same corridor, when he was a Blackhawk helicopter pilot. So we have that going for us. But I did want to kind of talk about this case. It's in the news. It's in, and I had a personal contact and connection with it. I wanted to bring it to your attention. So until my next report, take a moment, help us get big, muscular, robust at Legal AF. Hit the link in the notes below and become a free subscriber to Legal AF. You could be the 1 millionth subscriber. We're that close. And I think it's going to happen over the weekend with your help. So until my next report, I'm Michael Popok. Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.